Okay, my friends, so we're going to break down credit cards to their simplest components, which is your balance, your interest, and your payment. There are different rules for different credit cards, different ways they calculate things, and I encourage you to get to know that. It'll all be spelled out in whatever statements they send you. But in this video and in this homework, we're only going to be doing the basic idea of you have a balance in your credit card. They charge interest on that balance, and then you make a payment against what's that, and then it repeats the next month, and then it repeats the next month. Making some assumptions here, at least at first. We're not going to pay the entire balance off at once. I mean, you can do that, and I have done that in the past when I can. But in the interest of understanding the interests of credit cards, we're not going to do that at first. We're going to play with spreadsheets to help us understand this. Okay, so I'm going to try to kind of give you a chalkboard, big picture idea of what this looks like. So let's say we're at month 0. This is going to be like a starting point, month 0. And we'll go from month 0 to month 1 to month 2 to month 3. And then once we get this kind of filled out, we'll go to the spreadsheets where we can actually do this without a chalkboard. So in month 0, you're going to get a statement from your bank. And that bank is going to have a balance on it. The balance is going to be a chunk of change. Let's say it's that big. So that's how much you owe this month, whatever month this is. So that's your balance. Now, whatever that is, you're then going to make a payment to try to take some of that away. Because remember, this is stuff you owe the credit card company. You don't want to owe them more than you have to. So you're going to make a payment. And let's say that payment, let's use some colors here. Let's say that payment is about this much. Okay? So that means the next month, this got shortened by that much. That much got taken off, which looks great. Because, you took that much off of what you owe. The catch, and this is where credit card companies can get you, is that in between this month and this month, during that 30, 31, 29, whatever days, there's also interest that gets added onto your balance. Now, how big this interest is, we're going to explore in the spreadsheet. But for example, it might be this much. Now, the way I've drawn it, the interest that is added on, which is usually expressed as a percentage, and we'll get to that in the spreadsheet, increases what you owe. So now you owe this much more than this. But then, you can make another payment at the end of that month. And then the next month, so what's going on here is this is coming down here, and then this is coming down here. Now, this will be shortened by that much. But there's also going to be interest added onto that. This is where credit cards get their earnings from you. They lend you money, but part of the business model of lending you money is they charge you to carry that balance, and that charge is called the interest. So honestly, the best way to explore this is using spreadsheets. So let's get into the spreadsheet now and see how we can visualize this with numbers line by line. Okay, friends, so let's build ourselves a spreadsheet that'll be able to analyze what we just looked at on the board, but with numbers. Okay, so let's go to Drive. You'll have to log in if you haven't already, and then we'll get in and create a new Google Sheet. Okay, a little blank sheet. And we're going to do exactly what we did on the board, but have some numbers that actually go with them. So, month, we'll go with months, and because I'm Sean, I'm going to center everything because I'm kind of a dork that way. All right. And I'm going to make some assumptions here. Month 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can drag this down as far as we need it to go. We'll start with 6 months. The balance that we're going to carry, I'm going to assume that we don't buy anything else on the card to keep this spreadsheet as simple as possible. Because all I want to look at in this video and in this homework is the impact of certain sized payments on your balance. Okay, so you have a balance, and I think, what did I say in the I googled it, is $6,600 is the average balance for an Oregonian, so we'll use that one. And then we're going to have a monthly payment. But what I want to focus on first is I want to focus on what happens between month 0 and month 1. So starting in month 0, you've got a balance of $6,600. Now let's suppose you don't make a payment on that $6,600 and that balance comes down here. Well, here's the kick. That balance is now going to get larger because you carry the balance of $6,600, but then the credit card company is going to add interest to that as a charge to you for keeping that money in their account. So I did a little looking, and I saw a lot of different credit card rates. There's tons, and a lot of them look terrifyingly big. For example, one of the ones I looked at was 18%. Which makes it seem like they're going to add 18% every month, but that's not exactly what happens. They actually add about 18% every year in accumulated charges. So actually, if you have an 18% annual rate, it only corresponds to about a 1.5% monthly rate, because you take that 18 and divide it by 12. So what would actually happen in month 1 down here is you take the balance. So what it equals that, because that's what happened. We're bringing that balance down, but then we're also going to add 0.015. That's 1.5% of that previous amount. Now I'm going to press enter right now, just for a second. That's what the account will now have grown to. It will have increased by about $100 in that month. It looks like $99 exactly. Okay, that's what 1.5% of 6,600 is. Now, the thing we have to think about is you're now going to make a payment on that. So yes, it grew to that between month 0 and 1, but you're going to make a payment on that. Now, here's the deal. What I want to do is I don't want to just put something at the end of this formula that says minus some amount of money. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to analyze what different size payments will do to your balance. So over here, I'm just going to type the word monthly payment, and I'm going to put a number in here. And I'm going to start with a number like $150. Okay? And we're going to bold italicize this. We're going to bold that, make it stand out. And what I want to do is I want to be able to use this number against the balance. So I'm going to click back in here. And that's the new grown balance, the original balance plus the 1.5%. And now I'm going to subtract the monthly payment. I'm going to press enter. Now, that's what happens if you take $150 off of that increased balance. So you can see the balance went down, which is exactly what you want. Now, it would be nice to be able to drag this formula down to month 2. To see how it works there, and then to drag it down again in month 3, and then to drag it down in month 4. But you might be noticing something. Like, hopefully you're noticing it anyway. Those balances are now going up. They're not going down, they're going up. So let's go back and see what's going on. So month 1 was okay. We took the 150 off. So you see the formula up there? C4, which was the old balance of 6,600, plus 1.5% of C4. Yes, that's all good. Minus E4, and E4 is the payment over here. That's good. Now, if we go down one cell, it says, okay, C5. Okay, that's good. That's month 1's balance. That's what we want to do. That's the new balance, plus the additional 1.5% of that. That's also good. Minus E5. Oh, there's the problem. It's trying to subtract off E5. But if you look over at E5, there's nothing there. Okay, I see what's going on. I see what's going on. When I drag the formula down, there are certain cells that I want to change. All those C's, the C5, C6, C6, I want those to change because they're changing
as we go from month to month, which is exactly what we want. We want this row to look back a row at the old balance. Those are called relative references. Relative because as you drag the formula, those numbers change relative to how far you drag. However, this E4 we typed right here, we don't want that to be relative. We want it always to point to this cell E4. And that is called, my friends, an absolute reference. Now, there's a couple ways to change it to an absolute reference to make it so that it pins and never changes. One way is to simply type dollar signs in front of the E and the 4. What that will do is it'll still look at that. If you look right here, it's still looking at that E4. But now when you drag this down, you'll notice that the formula has an E4 in it again. And if you drag it down again, it still has an E4. The C's are changing because they're relative, but the E is remaining pinned, and more importantly, the balance is going down, which is what it should be doing because you're paying more each month than the interest that is accruing each month. Cool! So if you wanted to now, you could also increase the number of months, say to a year, and you can drag that all the way down, and you can see the balance is shrinking each time. All right, all right. I think you got a good spreadsheet set up now. You can use this spreadsheet to answer the questions on the homework. Go get them.